Welcome to this week's episode of the Modern Mentor Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Cooke. And today, I'll be inviting you to peek behind the curtain and into my personal secret to productivity, creativity, and success, my bullet journal. 5 years ago, I started my own consulting business. Cue the terror, stress, exhaustion, and overwhelm. I wanted to succeed and I was willing to work for it. But professional success at the expense of my family or health wasn't worth it. I struggled initially to juggle and sometimes even see all the balls in the air. I spent a lot of time feeling like I was failing at something, be it working, mothering, friending, or exercising. I tried all of the productivity and organizing apps, but nothing changed the game for me. And then one day, be still my analog loving heart, I discovered the bullet journal, and it changed everything. Let's talk about what bullet journaling is. Bullet journaling is hard to define because it's really whatever you need it to be. 5 years ago, I needed a solution that would help keep me productive, creative, organized, and balanced. And the bullet journal became that for me. A bullet journal is a means of planning, capturing, dreaming, organizing, tracking, and more. It's also literally just a notebook, any notebook, and a pen. For me, the practice of handwriting ideas helps seal them into my mind in a way a technological capture just doesn't. Creator of the method, Ryder Carroll, says, "It's helpful to have one source of truth." That's what the bullet journal is for me. Personally, I rely on this system to help me get everything out of my head, translate big ideas into bite-sized actions, keep all of my priorities prioritized, capture and curate ideas across any arena I can imagine, and tackle the big stuff before I get lost in the small. In the game of bullet journaling, there are no rules. The key to doing it right is knowing what you want to achieve, be it productivity, changing a habit, sticking to a budget, and then building the journal and a process that supports you in getting there. There are countless YouTube videos on how to start up and work with a bullet journal. My advice is to start simple, see what works, and make changes as you go. Here's how I set up my bullet journal. As I mentioned, 5 years ago, I was overwhelmed and out of balance. Different parts of my life seemed to be competing versus collaborating, and my goal was to find a way to feel productive and successful across all of them. I began by jotting down everything that was bouncing around my brain, every to-do, every anxiety, every ambition, idea, and wish. And when I looked at the giant brain dump, I saw 5 clear categories emerge: business, personal development, health and wellness, home and family, and service. In January of this year, the Modern Mentor podcast became the final item in what I now call my critical 6. I know that as long as my goals and plans ladder up to these 6 core priorities and all 6 remain nourished, then I'm coming out on top. If you opened my bullet journal, what would you see? Generally speaking, you'd find the following: an index, which helps me find and manage all of the pages; a running to-do list, which is a chaotic, not at all organized space where I can brain dump anything I need to do; my critical 6, the priorities that total my success. You'd find goals. I set these quarterly, monthly, and weekly, and they all ladder up to my critical 6. Daily plans. This is where I turn goals into actions. Weekly reflections. I look back on what I've achieved to both celebrate wins and also plan ahead in a way that builds. And finally, collections. These are lists to capture and categorize everything I want to do, learn, write, celebrate, and more. My collections include gratitude and celebrations, podcast ideas, books to read, inspiring quotes, marketing ideas, people I want to connect with, products I want to offer my clients, activities for my kids, volunteer opportunities, meal ideas, and workouts. So now let's talk about how I use my bullet journal to achieve my goals. The critical 6 was my starting point. It's the framework that guides me. Again, there's no right way to use your journal. It's up to you to figure out what you need from it, but I'll give you a summary of how I use mine. Let's start with annually, or more frequently as needed. At the beginning of every year, I establish a commitment to myself in each of the critical 6 categories. This way, as I move into monthly and weekly planning, I know what I'm striving for. This is where I dream big and challenge my ability to be creative. In May of 2020, I did a reset because, boy, did May call for a reset. You can see my Critical 6 in a photo I've uploaded on the QDT website. Next, monthly. At the start of each month, I review my Critical 6 and identify 1 or 2 major goals across each priority. Then, pulling from my running to-do list, my calendar, and my collections, I plot out the client deliverables due, the podcast episodes I'll write, the activities I'll try with my kids, the meals, and the workouts I'll conquer. This takes me about 30 minutes, and it gives me a templated structure for the whole month ahead. Weekly. Each Sunday afternoon, and yes, sometimes it's Monday morning, I review my plan for the month and determine what needs to happen during that week. And remember, I define what needs to happen not just by hard deadlines, but by what will keep all of the Critical 6 in balance. I then set up a page for each day of that week, and I plot out all of the must-dos. Those are the meetings, the deliverables, the appointments, and so on. I also reserve about 30 minutes on Friday afternoon to review and reflect on the week. I consider what went well, what I learned, whether or not the week felt balanced. I also reserve about 30 minutes on Friday afternoon to review and reflect on the week. I consider what went well, what I learned, and whether or not the week felt balanced. I also identify anything that didn't get done, migrating it to the following week. I use this time to grab any musings or ideas I captured on my phone throughout the week, because no, I don't carry my journal with me everywhere, and I get them all into my journal. And finally, daily. I get up early each day and I plan my day in my bullet journal. I migrate anything left undone from the previous day. My must-dos are already in there, so my job each morning is to fill out these other categories. First, it's my top 3. These are the 3 most essential things I must do today. If I do these and nothing else, I'm a winner. There's also my workout. Will it be cardio, weightlifting, jogging? Something is going in that box. I also have a social commitment. I require of myself 1 touch point with a friend or family member each day. Could be a call, an email, a text, but I name 1 person that I will reach out to. And finally, my schedule. This is an outline of my day. It's all of my must-dos, plus anything else there is room and energy for, plotted on a timeline. And there you have it. The secret to my success costs me approximately $8 per quarter. Of course, the real investment is time. But as author and speaker Seth Godin says, you don't need more time in your day. You need to decide. So I decided feeling whole is worth every penny of my time. I'm Rachel Cooke, your Modern Mentor host. I hope you found today's episode on bullet journaling helpful. Do you have a productivity tip you'd like to share? A question you'd like to ask? Leave me a voicemail on the Modern Mentor hotline at 201-632-5656, and you may just be featured on the show. Check out all the links in my bio or visit my website at leadabovenoise.com to get in touch. Thanks so much for listening and have a successful week.